Hey everyone, Infinite Cars here, and welcome back to episode 2 of Irrelevant Opinions. Today I'm joined with Adam again.
Hello, I'm back. I'm Adam, and today we are going over if shinies overall have lost their value, right?
Yeah, so this has been quite an opinionated topic in the Pokémon community lately. There's been a very divided stance. A lot of people have said, shiny just shiny, no matter how it's hunted. But a lot of other people have said that because of easier methods of hunting, shinies aren't nearly as valuable anymore. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. It's something I feel quite strongly about. I don't know if you feel the same.
I actually do feel strongly about this topic as well. I may not completely agree with you, but I still feel like I formed my own opinion based on my own experiences, and so did yours. So that should be quite fun.
I've been shiny hunting for a few years now. I usually forward hunt. I love hunting in Gen 3, 4, 5 specifically. I just find the rush of getting a shiny in the older games better, and I don't think a 2D sprite really is even comparable to a 3D. The way that a 2D sprite looks in game, especially when it's just shiny, I love it so much, and I think Gen 6 and 7 has ruined shiny hunting in a way. I just don't think the shinies look as nice, and because they're so much easier to get, they don't really feel as accomplished. I still enjoy shiny hunting in the newer games. It's just not got the same feeling to it.
I heard you say the word ruined when it shinies after Generation 6 or Generation 5 specifically, but I do not think they have lost their value as much because they're still, extremely rare, an extremely rare phenomenon that you see only a few times. Or if you're dedicated to shiny hunting, then you may see it multiple times. But overall, they're still really, really rare, and it still gives you that same feeling of elation when you find one. So overall, I don't think they have personally lost their value, but I think it's gone a bit easier to get them.
I think a bit easier is a little bit of an... What's the word?
Understatement.
Understatement. Because Gen 6 introduced, so they halved the shiny odds. You have Friend Safari, Horde Encounters, Chain Fishing. Chain Fishing, you can find a shiny in under half an hour, easily. Friend Safari, again, it's like a 1 in 500 chance, which is just, I think, ridiculous for shiny. Horde hunting, while it's technically full odds, you're finding, every Pokemon essentially 5 times as fast. So it really cuts down the value of full odd shinies. I think really in X and Y, the only really hard hunt there is for the starters. Every other shiny in the game can be found easily, but then you can just breed the starters through Masuda method. So even that's up in debate if shiny starters in Gen 6 are that rare.
I definitely agree that there are some methods of getting shinies which are kind of too easy, but that means that the people that want to have shinies but they for some reason don't have patience or don't have the time, then they can get those shinies instead of hunting for the full odd ones. So it gives people more of an option of what to do to obtain a shiny. You can do it the hard way and just random encounter of soft reset over a starter, or you can go to the Friend Safari and get something much quicker.
Yeah, I totally understand your point, and I do think that method hunting is very good to, engage people in shiny hunting. But I think that the methods are too easy. I think, just horde encounters, I'm all right with that. But when you get into, chain fishing or Friend Safari, I think, really? If Friend Safari say, the shiny charm odds, 1 in 1,000, I don't think that'd be as bad. Because 1 in 1,000 is still rare, but with, 1 in about 500, it's pretty common. You can find shinies really easily. And I feel like one of my main arguments that like shinies have lost a lot of their value is it used to be like if you found, a full art shiny, oh, you didn't care anything, you didn't care about its stats, but now people seem to care a lot more about like a shiny's technicalities because they're so easy to find. People don't really see finding a shiny per se as an achievement, but more finding like a competitively viable one, which I think is really sad because there's a huge line between shiny hunting and competitive battling, and like modeling that up, I think it could create a lot of confusion to newcomers if they want to get into either community. Because I could see someone looking in thinking, oh, if I want to be good at Pokemon, I'll need to shiny hunt. But that's not the case. Shiny hunting's only for those few, dedicated fans that want to put in hours upon hours of work into a game, and they might not even get anything for it.
I guess I see your point, and it's totally valid. When we're talking about the shinies, the people caring about shinies being competitively viable, that's only a certain group of people. It's not talking about the community as a whole, because there's still some people that would think, oh my god, I've got a shiny that is amazing. I don't care about its nature and all that. But I know there are some people that do only care about those things instead of actually just focusing on the shiny part, which is the most rare. I guess that is quite sad. I see your point.
I think, especially because wormhole hunting in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, like you could get up to a 1 in 3 chance of a shiny, and people would like go and soft reset over shinies to try and find a good natured one. And a 1 in 3 chance, it's just ridiculous. I can't believe that, Game Freak have made a shiny that obtainable. Because 1 in 8,192, I think, are really good odds. I don't mind 4,096 in Gen 6 and 7, and 8 now. I totally see why they did it. It's just when we get into these really easy method hunts that I think really, I think people would still shiny hunt if, method hunting was slightly harder. Just shinies would feel more rewarding, if you understand what I mean.
I do understand, but I personally think that those methods of shiny hunt, easier ones like Friend Safari and wormholes, are intended for like beginner people that started shiny hunting, to get yourself in the zone of trying to get shiny. Although it's not that difficult, they may progress forward and try to find more difficult shinies later on. But for now, they're still new and try to find a new beginning, and they start from those areas which shiny is still quite rare, but it's not nearly as hard to find in my opinion.
My arguments against that is I see a lot of people that come into the shiny community, and because they see these people find shinies so fast through method hunting, they get very impatient very quickly, and they're like, oh, I've had 100 encounters and I haven't found anything, like, what's going on? I feel like there's this growing trend in the community that, you can hunt for a shiny and, within an hour you found it, especially if you're on multiple games. And I think that can almost distance newcomers, from the community, especially if they're not getting a shiny quickly. It could put them off hunting in general. Because in the older games, you knew shinies were super rare. And if you wanted to hunt one, you knew you'd start that hunt with a very small chance of getting a shiny. And you'd probably be more determined to go through. But if you've only, hunted for half an hour, you're probably going to give up much easier because, it's only half an hour wasted. But you're not going to stop a hunt after, a month because you'll have put all that time to waste. If that makes sense. I just think full art shinies, the hunt and finding them is so much more rewarding and valuable than anything that a method hunt could bring.
That I do agree with. I feel like the shiny full odds, they do feel more rewarding in a sense because you dedicated your time and effort and probably counting those sub resets or random encounters over and over again, and at the end, it does feel like you've accomplished something amazing, and it does make you feel fantastic and want you to continue hunting something else in the future. But yeah, method hunting does not do that. Does not do that nearly as well, nearly as much. But it's still a pretty good way to begin, if you know what I mean.
So the main focus of your argument is you think method hunting is valuable because it lets beginners enter the community.
Yes, in my opinion.
But then back in Gens 5 and Gens 4, people came into the shiny hunting community with no real easy way to find shinies. The only thing was what's it called, the Poke Radar, right, in Gen 4, where you could with the shiny patches. But even then, that was quite complicated to learn. I think something like that's good, because even though you can find shinies easier, it's still quite hard and it's still really rewarding, opposed to friend safari or chain fishing. I wish they'd bring back something like that in Gen 4. Just, provide an option to newcomers, but also, not stripping away the value of shinies so much. And also, cut shiny locks. Ooh, shiny locks.
Oh, we don't like those.
No. I think.
But
Sorry.
It's alright. But I think because it's the reason why you have your arguments is because you played and shiny hunted in the older games, and I haven't done that nearly as much as you have. I've only shiny hunted in Gen 6 and Gen 6 and after, and that is when the shiny odds decreased. But it was, but I still didn't find a random shiny, or I had to. For some hunts, I had to dedicate my time a lot. And you hunted in many games where the odds were increased to 8,192. So I think that's where your argument is coming from.
Yeah. I think also, just driving away from method hunting for a moment, hacking, the abundance of hacked Pokemon, I think, is also leading to a huge decrease in shiny value. Because now it feels like you have to prove a shiny's real to people. Because you can get a hacked shiny in your game so easily. Like, oh look, it has, my trainer ID, it's not perfect, it's, I promise I actually found this, I've got proof that I found this. I definitely think, with all Wi-Fi connectivity and the, genning software and stuff, it's so sad to see the ease that people can just, create loads of shiny Pokemon and then, give away or sell them to other people. It just completely strips the value of shinies, especially shiny legendaries, because you can't method hunt a shiny legendary, but in the newer games, like the shiny locks, but the older ones, you had to hunt them. But now, if you see someone with a shiny legendary, online, there's a 99% chance it's either hacked or from some sort of event. And it's just really sad, in my opinion, because, shinies shouldn't be like that. They should be this rare possession. And now that everybody can just get them, legitimately or non-legitimately, it's really, put a damper on, I think, a community that used to be almost very exclusive and, very fascinating in a way.
I absolutely agree that Jenning has made shinies lose their value a lot more right now, because what you just said with all the with Pokemon being, you have to prove that you have this shiny and you haven't genned it in, and that is indeed quite sad, because previously you didn't have to. You would show the shiny to another person and they would congratulate you for getting it. But now they're probably not gonna believe you, because genning is so common right now, and you see all those shinies that are probably genned, and they probably experience a lot of them themselves, that it's not it's quite sad because I'm lost for words. Sorry.
I mean, that's why I'd never transfer a shiny from like Gens 3, 4, 5 up into the newer games. Because a shiny, back on those games, you can prove that it's, authentic and that it holds a lot more value. You could still say, show the proof, I caught this in, Gen 3, Gen 4. But to other people, just battling you online, they won't see that. And they won't see all the hard work and, the achievement you got when you finally found the shiny.
I guess that is true, but I personally battle, so I don't experience that nearly as much as some people do, and I know that it will be upsetting for the other people to know that the person on the other side will probably think that your shiny is non-legitimate, and that would make the person quite upset, and so I do agree that has affected the value of shinies quite badly.
Because in a way, a shiny Pokemon, a lot of the time is seen as a symbol of, this isn't yours, it's gemmed, it's hacked. Especially if they're using it in competitive battles. I mean, it's very possible to find a competitively viable shiny, but most people, will think that you didn't go through the effort to find one. They just think, they got it off a Jenna or they, genned it in themselves. Which, again, as I said before, it definitely takes away the value of shinies. I think even more than method hunting does. Because, if you're method hunting, it still takes time and it still takes effort and, concentration. But, genning just doesn't do that. And it's a huge problem. I don't know what's going to happen with Gen 8. Because obviously the Switch is much harder to mod and hack than the 3DS. So I'm hoping, there'll be something. If you can transfer Pokemon up into Gen 8, that there'll be like, rules that you can't bring Pokemon that are genned up. There'll be filters against it. That's my hope, but in the end, we never really know.
So what you're trying to say is that Gen Pokemon should be completely erased from Nintendo Switch and Gen 8?
I mean, not erased, because just, Gen Pokemon won't be brought up, so, this wave of illegitimate shinies can hopefully be stamped out, and, will bring a lot of the value of shinies back, even if, there are some easier ways to get shinies in Gen 8, it will be nowhere near as bad as Gen 7.
That is true, yes. Gen 7 had many methods, such as SOS hunting and the Masuda method. Of course, Masuda method has returned in Gen 8, but
Masuda method's not that bad. Because the odds may be quite high, but hatching each egg does take a lot more time than a normal encounter.
That is true. How do you feel about shiny lock? Like the Pokemon that are meant to not be shiny locked, that meant to not be shiny, however many times you encounter it. How do you feel about that?
Obviously, I hate it. The only shiny lock I understand is the Zigzagoon in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. That makes complete sense. But shiny locked, legendaries before, and now in the starters in Gen 8, it just infuriates me so much.
That is getting a bit out of hand, and it's really ridiculous, pointless, honestly, because Game Freak probably has done this so that people can move on with the game and finish it, but what if a person wants to first find the shiny and dedicate their time and effort and basically anything to get that shiny, but you just can't because Game Freak has not allowed the person to do it, and a little bit sad, honestly. How do you feel?
I mean, I love, shiny hunting starters. I've done it in a few games, and there's no better feeling than playing through the game with a shiny. I understand legendaries because cutscenes and, stuff like that can interfere with the story. but I see no reason why Game Freak should shiny lock starters. Because they're just starters. If someone wants to hunt them, let them hunt them. It's their game, it's their, story. Let them do what they want. Let them play through the game with a shiny starter. And now, you can't get a starter at the start, so the only way to get one's through breeding. And it's just not the same, getting something through breeding doesn't make it a starter. It's just something you've got through breeding.
So overall, when it comes to shiny starters, I don't get why Game Freak has made them unobtainable in this current generation, because I have personal experiences with shiny hunting starters, and when I find them, they bring me joy and happiness, and it gives me kind of like strive to get some more shinies out there. And when I go through that journey through the region, I have my fellow companion alongside me who is shiny, and it just makes me so proud every time I see him, because I know that I've dedicated my own time to it, and because it's not available now, it's quite sad because it makes no sense. Shiny starters, you can breed the starters, yes, but it doesn't feel the same because a starter is supposed to be your very first Pokemon, the Pokemon you get at the beginning of the game, and you can have it throughout your journey, whereas when you go to the breeding area and breed your own shiny, it doesn't feel the same because you already went through almost half the region without your shiny starter, and it's just I don't feel like it's the same feeling,
Yeah, I completely agree. Do you think shiny locks have devalued shinies, or do you think they're just something that's very infuriating for shiny hunters?
I feel like shinies on the whole have lost their value a little bit over time because, with the introduction of many methods and jetting, as you said, it made shinies that little bit less valuable. But on the whole, there's still many ways of still legitimately hunting shinies, which is still really rare, and it'll probably give you a bit of a challenge, and it'll make you suffer, but in the end, it will be really worth it. How about you?
I personally believe that a shiny's value is different, to every individual. I believe that easy methods of shiny hunting doesn't take away, someone's feelings towards a shiny. I just think the attitude towards shinies as a whole in the Pokemon community has become a lot more complacent than, in Gens 3, 4, 5, for example. Although I do think shinies have lost a lot of their wow factor. They're more just something we see and we accept, and they're not really as much of a surprise if someone has one anymore. And I do think, it's just to do with easier method hunts, but most importantly, genning and how prevalent hack shinies are. And
Yeah.
it does upset me. But in the end, it's what happens. People, they'll want to cheat the system. And there's nothing we can really do about it. All we can do is hope that when you can bring shinies into Sword and Shield, Game Freak cracks down on shinies that are produced, in software compared to one that's found in the actual game.
Yeah, and overall, on the whole, this topic is very subjective. Many people will have very different opinions to us, and that's the beauty of opinions, isn't it?
Completely. If you think shinies are still as valuable as they were 10 years ago, I have no issue with that. Each to their own. Shiny hunting is very subjective. You may hate shiny hunting, you may love shiny hunting. But I do think, no matter who you are, you can see that the value of shinies has at least slightly decreased, just due to how easily, they are to find now.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we wrap this episode?
Of course. So, what do you think of this topic?
I actually found very I didn't actually know that I had so many strong feelings on Chinese because I didn't do that certain activity for a while now. So having to bring me back in the spirit of shiny hunting, I feel like I feel great. How about you?
You ready to shiny hunt again after this then?
Absolutely.
Get back on the Alpha Sapphire and catch that Lugia after 10,000 soft resets?
Please don't remind me of that experience.
No, don't worry. We
And
both have our issues with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
you.
15,000 soft resets for Regirock, and I still haven't
Okay,
found it.
but you're getting really upset. Just end this episode now.
Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe or comment down below, telling us your opinion, because we'd love to hear it if you've made it through to the end. That is, thank you so much for listening to us ramble for 25 minutes. And with that being said, I'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye!